Captain Sarah pressed her face against the cold metal wall of her prison cell, listening to the heavy footsteps of her guards echoing through the detention block. The purple-skinned aliens had captured her ship 3 days ago, and their mockery still rang in her ears. "Weak humans," they had sneered. "No claws, no natural armor, no psychic abilities. How did such pathetic creatures ever reach the stars?" Sarah flexed her fingers, feeling the slight weight of what appeared to be a simple wedding ring on her left hand. If only they knew what humanity had really achieved in the shadows, while the galaxy dismissed them as harmless traders and explorers. The Galactic Council chamber had been buzzing with conversation when humanity first petitioned for membership 50 years ago. Ambassador William Torres had stood before representatives of 12 advanced civilizations, each more physically impressive than the last. The delegates towered at 9 feet tall with thick armored shells. They floated in fields, their crystalline bodies pulsing with internal energy. They displayed their razor-sharp claws and telepathic abilities. "These humans," Counselor had announced with barely concealed amusement, "possess no natural weapons, no telepathy, no enhanced strength or speed. Their technology appears adequate but unremarkable. We grant them associate membership only." Associate membership meant humans could trade but had no voting rights, no access to advanced technologies, and no protection under galactic defense treaties. They were tolerated but never respected. What the Council didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for decades. Deep beneath the surface of Luna, hidden research facilities had been working on projects that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The wedding ring on Sarah's finger was just one example of how far human ingenuity had progressed. Doctor had led the Luna project from its inception. While the galaxy saw humans as weak and defenseless, understood that humanity's greatest strength had always been adaptation and innovation. "We can't grow claws or develop telepathy," he had told his research team, "but we can build something better." The first breakthrough came with neural integration technology. While other species relied on external devices or natural abilities, humans developed microscopic implants that could interface directly with their nervous systems. The technology was so advanced that it appeared as simple jewelry or clothing accessories to outside observers. Sarah's ring contained a quantum processor more powerful than most Starship computers. Connected to her nervous system through nearly invisible neural threads, it could analyze combat situations, predict enemy movements, and coordinate with other equipped humans across vast distances. The ring also served as a gateway to the Luna network, a secret communication system that linked every equipped human across the galaxy. Captain James had been the first field operative to test the technology. His mission was simple: infiltrate a military outpost and gather intelligence on their defensive capabilities. They had dismissed him as a weak human courier, allowing him access to sensitive areas without proper security checks. What they didn't realize was that James's ordinary-looking jacket contained fiber-optic sensors that could map entire facilities, while his watch housed microdrones capable of infiltrating computer systems. Within hours, the Luna network had complete blueprints of the most secure installations. The second breakthrough was even more revolutionary. Doctor had discovered a way to enhance human cellular structure at the molecular level. The treatment was invisible to standard medical scans, but granted humans abilities that surpassed many naturally evolved species. Enhanced strength, speed, reflexes, and healing could be activated when needed but remained dormant during normal activities. The enhancement process was carefully controlled and limited to selected operatives. Sarah had the treatment 6 months before her current mission. To observers, she appeared to be an average human trader. In reality, her enhanced physiology made her stronger than a warrior and faster than a scout. The third and most carefully guarded secret was the development of selective invisibility technology. Human scientists had cracked the problem that had stumped galactic researchers for how to bend light around an object without massive energy requirements. The solution was typically human in its elegance and simplicity. Rather than trying to hide entire objects, the technology created selective perception filters. Anyone wearing the device would appear completely ordinary to observers, even while performing extraordinary actions. Enemy sensors would register normal human readings, while security cameras would show routine activities. The person could walk through the most secure facilities without triggering any alarms. Commander Lisa Park had demonstrated the technology's effectiveness during a reconnaissance mission to the She had walked directly through their primary intelligence complex, gathering data on their military capabilities while appearing to be a lost tourist asking for directions. Even when she accessed secure terminals and downloaded classified files, security footage showed her simply sitting in the lobby reading a travel guide. The fourth breakthrough addressed humanity's supposed technological limitations. While galactic species had developed powerful but specialized technologies, humans had focused on adaptability and integration. Their ships appeared modest, but contained modular systems that could reconfigure for any situation. Sarah's transport vessel, the Wandering Star, looked like a typical human cargo ship. Standard sensors showed basic shields, conventional weapons, and unremarkable engines. What they couldn't detect were the ship's hidden capabilities: adaptive armor that could absorb and redirect energy attacks, weapons systems that could modify their output frequency to penetrate any known shielding, and engines capable of performance that exceeded military specifications. The fifth and final component of humanity's secret advantage was their communication network. While other species relied on traditional subspace communications that could be monitored and intercepted, humans had developed quantum entanglement communication. Messages could be transmitted instantly across any distance without possibility of interception or jamming. Every enhanced human carried quantum communicators disguised as ordinary personal items. Sarah's ring connected her to thousands of other operatives throughout the galaxy. When they had captured her ship, the Luna network had been instantly. Response teams were already moving into position before her captors had finished celebrating their prize. The who captured Sarah were typical of how the galaxy viewed humanity. Commander had boarded her ship expecting to find a frightened trader carrying routine cargo. Instead, he discovered what appeared to be advanced sensor equipment and communication arrays. Not recognizing the true nature of the technology, he assumed Sarah was some kind of spy for another galactic power. "Tell us who you're working for, human," had demanded during her first interrogation. "These devices are too sophisticated for your primitive species to develop." Sarah had maintained her cover story. She was an independent trader who had purchased the equipment from merchants. The explanation satisfied preconceptions about human limitations while providing a plausible source for advanced technology. What couldn't know was that Sarah's presence in space was no accident. She was part of a carefully coordinated intelligence operation designed to test their defenses before the Luna network moved to its next phase of operations. For 50 years, humanity had been gathering information and building capabilities while maintaining their facade of weakness. The time for revelation was approaching. Doctor monitored Sarah's situation from Luna Command, a facility buried 2 miles beneath the moon's surface. The chamber housed the central processing core of the Luna network, quantum computers that coordinated activities across hundreds of worlds. Holographic displays showed the positions of enhanced humans throughout the galaxy, their mission status, and intelligence gathered from thousands of sources. Sarah's capture was expected, Doctor explained to his senior staff. "The needed to believe they had achieved something significant. Her presence will allow us to map their detention protocols and security systems from the inside." Turn to face the main display, which showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy with human operative positions marked in blue. Red indicators showed the locations of various alien military installations and government centers. Yellow markers indicated targets for future operations. "The Council meets in 6 months to vote on the Humanity Restriction Act," continued. "If passed, it would ban humans from over half the galaxy and require registration of all human vessels. They believe we're becoming too numerous and need to be controlled before we cause problems." The Restriction Act had been proposed by a coalition of species who viewed humanity's rapid expansion with suspicion. Humans had established trade routes throughout the galaxy, and their merchant fleets were becoming a common sight in most systems. While officially this was celebrated as successful integration, privately many species worried about human influence and potential. What they didn't realize was that every human trader, diplomat, and explorer was part of the Luna network. 50 years of seemingly innocent commercial activity had placed enhanced humans in position to monitor, influence, or disable every major installation in the galaxy. The Restriction Act would actually trigger the revelation of humanity's true capabilities. Doctor reviewed the final preparations from her laboratory on Luna. The enhancement chambers were ready to process another 1,000 volunteers, bringing the total number of enhanced humans to over 50,000. Each would be equipped with quantum communicators, perception filters, and access to the network's vast intelligence databases. The psychological preparation is as important as the physical enhancement, reminded her team. These individuals will need to maintain their cover identities while possessing capabilities that far exceed their apparent limitations. The mental discipline required is extraordinary. Enhanced humans underwent months of training to control their new abilities and maintain normal behavioral patterns. They learned to suppress enhanced reflexes during routine activities, to resist the temptation to demonstrate their capabilities, and to maintain genuine emotional responses while their enhanced minds processed vast amounts of tactical information. The training also included extensive cultural preparation. Enhanced humans would be operating independently across the galaxy, often in hostile environments where discovery could trigger intergalactic incidents. They needed to understand alien psychology, predict behavioral patterns, and manipulate situations without revealing their true nature. Sarah's current situation was a perfect example of the training in action. Despite her enhanced strength and the advanced technology at her disposal, she remained in her cell and submitted to interrogation. Her mission required gathering intelligence on procedures, and premature escape would compromise the operation. The neural implants allowed Sarah to remain calm while experiencing the stress of captivity. Her enhanced physiology prevented the interrogation drugs from affecting her cognitive functions, while her quantum communicator kept her connected to Luna Command throughout the ordeal. To her captors, she appeared to be a frightened human traitor slowly breaking under pressure. Commander reviewed the current status of Operation Revelation from his position aboard the research vessel, Hidden Truth. The ship appeared to be conducting routine astronomical surveys in the Galactic Rim territories, but its real mission was coordinating the final phases of humanity's preparations. "We have assets in position throughout 12 major systems," reported to Luna Command. "Intelligence gathering is complete on Council military capabilities, communication systems, and governmental structures. All enhanced operatives are ready to activate on signal." The scope of humanity's preparation was staggering. Over 5 decades, human traders and explorers had mapped every major facility in the galaxy, identified key personnel and systems, and established the capability to monitor or influence galactic events in real time. The aliens who dismissed humans as weak had unknowingly allowed them to infiltrate every aspect of galactic civilization. Operation Revelation would demonstrate humanity's true capabilities without necessarily revealing all their secrets. When the Council convened to vote on the Restriction Act, they would discover that humans were far more than they appeared. The question was whether this revelation would lead to greater respect or increased hostility. Sarah shifted position in her cell, her enhanced hearing detecting the approach of multiple guards. The neural implant provided tactical analysis. 6 warriors, armed with standard energy weapons, moving in standard formation. Her ring's quantum processor had already calculated 17 different escape scenarios, but the mission required patience. The cell door opened and Commander entered with his escort. "You've been very cooperative, human," he said with satisfaction. "Tomorrow you will be transferred to our Central Intelligence Facility for more detailed questioning. I'm sure you'll find the experience educational." Sarah nodded meekly, playing her role perfectly. What didn't know was that her transfer to the Intelligence Facility was exactly what Luna Command had hoped for. The facility contained the primary communication hub for the military network. Once inside, Sarah would be able to plant quantum taps that would give humanity access to all military communications. As the guards left and locked her cell door, Sarah activated a brief quantum pulse through her ring. The signal would reach Luna Command instantly, confirming her readiness for the next phase of the mission. In response, she felt the subtle vibration that indicated receipt and approval. Across the galaxy, thousands of other enhanced humans received similar signals. The network was activating, preparing for the moment when humanity would finally reveal its true nature to the species who had dismissed them as weak and primitive. The galaxy was about to learn what humans could accomplish when they put their minds to it. The Restriction Act would be the catalyst, but humanity's response would reshape the balance of power forever. In 6 months, the Galactic Council would face a choice: The intelligence facility on Prime was considered the most secure installation in their empire. Built into a mountain and protected by multiple shield layers, energy barriers, and an army of guards, it housed the central communication hub that coordinated military operations across 47 star systems. Sarah was transferred there in heavy restraints, playing the role of a defeated captive while her enhanced senses mapped every detail of the facility's defenses. The quantum processor in her ring analyzed guard patrol patterns, identified security weak points, and located the primary communication arrays. To her escorts, she appeared resigned to her fate. In reality, she was gathering intelligence that would soon prove invaluable. The transport arrived at the facility during the third shift, when security was at its most relaxed. Sarah's enhanced hearing detected conversations between guards discussing their boredom and routine assignments. They had grown complacent, confident that their reputation for strength and their facility's defenses made any infiltration impossible. "Another weak human for interrogation," one guard commented as they processed Sarah through security. "Command thinks she's some kind of spy, but look at her. Barely as tall as a child, no natural weapons, probably couldn't lift one of our standard rifles." His companion laughed. "The intelligence division is desperate for results. They're convinced there's some grand conspiracy because human traitors are everywhere these days, as if these pathetic creatures could organize anything more complex than a shipping schedule." Sarah maintained her submissive posture while nodding the guard's casual dismissal of human capabilities. This attitude was exactly what humanity had cultivated over 5 decades of careful manipulation. The galaxy's species had convinced themselves that humans were harmless, making them blind to the true extent of human preparation and infiltration. The holding cells in the intelligence facility were more sophisticated than her previous prison. Energy barriers, quantum locks, and constant surveillance made escape appear impossible. Sarah was placed in a cell designed to hold telepathic beings, with psi dampeners that would prevent mental communication. They didn't realize that human quantum communications operated on entirely different principles. Once alone, Sarah activated her ring's passive scanning mode. The device began mapping the facility's internal structure, identifying power sources, communication nodes, and computer access points. The data was quietly transmitted to Luna Command through quantum channels that the security systems couldn't detect or interpret. Doctor received Sarah's intelligence data in real time from Luna Command. The facility's layout confirmed their projections, but the security was more extensive than anticipated. Multiple redundant systems protected the main communication hub, and access would require precise timing and coordination. "Sarah's position is perfect," told his senior staff. "She's being held 3 levels below the main communication center. The interrogation rooms have direct access to the primary computer network for data verification purposes. If she can reach one of those terminals during questioning, she can plant our quantum taps." The quantum tap technology was another example of human innovation that surpassed galactic science. These devices were smaller than molecules, but could infiltrate any computer system and provide complete access without detection. Once installed, they would allow Luna Command to monitor all military communications and potentially take control of their networks when needed. Commander James coordinated the support operation from his ship in nearby space. The wandering star had been reported captured, but its backup systems had automatically activated. To sensors, the ship appeared to be drifting dead in space, its crew presumably captured or killed. In reality, the ship's advanced systems were fully operational and virtually invisible to standard detection methods. Monitored fleet movements while preparing to assist Sarah's escape when the time came. His ship's adaptive weapons could penetrate the facility's shields if necessary, though the mission plan called for a more subtle approach. "Luna Command, this is," he transmitted through quantum channels. "Fleet positions confirmed. 3 destroyer escorts in system, standard patrol patterns. Primary defense grid shows the expected vulnerability windows. Sarah's extraction can proceed as planned." The extraction plan was typically human in its complexity and misdirection. Rather than a dramatic escape, Sarah would appear to be transferred to another facility following her interrogation. They would process the paperwork, confirm the transfer orders, and never realize that their prisoner had simply walked out under their enhanced perception filters. Doctor monitored Sarah's biological status from Luna through the quantum link. The enhanced human's vital signs remained steady despite the stress of deep infiltration. Her cellular enhancements were functioning perfectly, maintaining peak physical condition while suppressing any signs of her true capabilities. The psychological conditioning is holding well, reported to the command team. Sarah's stress responses appear completely normal to her captors, while her enhanced mind continues tactical analysis. The integration of human and technology is performing exactly as designed. This integration was what set humanity apart from other galactic species. While aliens relied on either natural abilities or external technology, humans had learned to seamlessly combine biological enhancement with technological augmentation. The result was capabilities that exceeded both natural evolution and conventional engineering. Sarah's first interrogation began 12 hours after her arrival. The interrogation chamber was equipped with advanced scanning technology, truth verification systems, and psychological pressure devices designed to break even the strongest minds. The interrogator, Colonel, was considered an expert at extracting information from unwilling subjects. "Your ship contained communication equipment far beyond standard human technology," began, his four arms manipulating various control interfaces while his primary eyes focused on Sarah's responses. "Who provided this equipment? Which species are you working for?" Sarah's training allowed her to provide answers that appeared truthful while revealing nothing of value. "I purchased the equipment from a merchant on the trade station at Nexus 7, she replied with convincing nervousness. "The seller claimed it would improve my communication range for better business coordination." The truth verification scanners confirmed her statement, unable to detect deception, because Sarah genuinely believed her cover story on a conscious level. Her enhanced mind maintained the real mission parameters in protected neural pathways that appeared as normal human background thoughts to external scanning. "These merchants," continued, "they have names, transaction records. I find it difficult to believe they would sell such advanced systems to a human trader." "The merchant called himself Crystalline Song of Distant Stars," Sarah replied, using a name generated by her neural implants from known naming conventions. "He said humans were expanding their trade routes and needed better equipment to remain competitive. The transaction was conducted in standard galactic credits." The interrogation continued for hours, with growing increasingly frustrated by Sarah's apparent ignorance of the technology's true capabilities. Her responses painted her as an opportunistic human trader who had stumbled across advanced equipment without understanding its significance. This portrayal fit perfectly with preconceptions about human limitations. During a break in questioning, Sarah was left alone in the interrogation chamber while consulted with his supervisors. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. The chamber's computer terminal was active, connected to the facility's main network for data verification purposes. Sarah approached the terminal cautiously, appearing to examine it out of curiosity while her ring's quantum processor interfaced with the system. The connection was established in nanoseconds, far too quickly for the security systems to detect. Molecular-scale quantum taps were deployed throughout the network, establishing access points that would remain undetectable indefinitely. The installation was completed before returned, giving humanity complete access to the military communication network. From Luna Command's perspective, this single action provided intelligence worth years of conventional espionage. Every military transmission, strategic plan, and classified communication was now available to human analysis. When resumed the interrogation, he found Sarah sitting exactly where he had left her, apparently examining her restraints with the dejected expression of a captured traitor. The computer terminal showed no signs of unauthorized access, and security sensors had detected no unusual activity. "You claim ignorance," said, reviewing the data from their conversation, "but our analysis of your ship suggests someone with extensive technical knowledge. The communication arrays were configured for optimal efficiency, and the data storage systems contained encryption algorithms we've never encountered." Sarah's neural implants provided the perfect response, confusion mixed with pride. "I'm good with technology," she said defensively. "Just because I'm human doesn't mean I'm stupid. I studied the equipment manuals and configured everything for maximum performance. The encryption was included with the software package." This explanation satisfied expectations while subtly reinforcing the image of humans as technically competent, but fundamentally limited. The idea that a human trader could optimize advanced alien technology through careful study seemed plausible, while the notion of humans developing superior systems remained inconceivable. The interrogation sessions continued for 3 days, with Sarah providing a steady stream of misleading but verifiable information. Her cover story was strengthened by genuine transaction records that Luna Command had inserted into various galactic databases years earlier, creating false histories that could withstand detailed investigation. Meanwhile, the quantum taps Sarah had installed were providing Luna Command with unprecedented intelligence on military operations. The data revealed fleet positions, defense strategies, and coordination protocols across their entire empire. More importantly, it confirmed that similar information was available from other species networks. Doctor analyzed the intelligence flow from his position at Luna Command. We now have complete access to military communications for 7 major galactic powers, he reported to his senior staff. The installation brings our network coverage to over 60% of all military assets in the galaxy. This level of intelligence access was the result of 50 years of patient work by thousands of enhanced humans. Each successful infiltration had provided another piece of the puzzle, gradually building a comprehensive picture of galactic military capabilities and vulnerabilities. Commander received new orders through the quantum network: maintain position and prepare for Sarah's extraction, but extend the timeline to allow for additional intelligence gathering. The longer Sarah remained undetected in the facility, the more valuable data Luna Command could acquire. The extraction plan was refined based on the new timeline. Rather than a quick rescue, Sarah would gradually convince her captors that she was a low-value asset not worth continued detention. They would eventually release her as part of a prisoner exchange or diplomatic negotiation, never realizing they had harbored humanity's most dangerous infiltrator. On the 4th day of her detention, Sarah's interrogation took an unexpected turn. Was joined by General, the commander of intelligence operations and one of the most experienced military leaders in their empire. "This human troubles me," General told while studying Sarah through the one-way observation panel. "Her responses are consistent, her documentation verifies, but something feels wrong. There's an intelligence behind her eyes that doesn't match her supposed limitations." Sarah's enhanced hearing allowed her to follow their conversation while maintaining the appearance of nervous waiting. Her neural implants provided immediate analysis. General possessed superior intuition and experience compared to his subordinates. The mission parameters might need adjustment. When General entered the interrogation chamber, Sarah immediately recognized a more formidable opponent. His 4 eyes showed the sharp focus of someone who had survived decades of military campaigns, and his questioning techniques were far more sophisticated than his direct approach. "Tell me about human expansion," General began conversationally. "Your species has spread throughout the galaxy very quickly for such a supposedly weak race. How do you explain this rapid growth?" The question was more dangerous than it appeared. Sarah's response needed to address human expansion without revealing the coordinated nature of their activities. "Humans work hard and adapt quickly," she replied. "We're not as strong or as advanced as other species, so we have to be more persistent. Trade routes that other species consider unprofitable are worth pursuing for us." "Adaptation," General repeated thoughtfully. "Yes, I've noticed that humans seem to thrive in environments that challenge other species. You establish trade routes in dangerous systems, negotiate with hostile governments, and somehow always manage to survive where others would fail." This observation was uncomfortably close to the truth. Humanity's success came from their enhanced capabilities and advanced technology, but Sarah needed to redirect the conversation toward acceptable explanations. "We're desperate," she said with carefully calculated emotion. "The Council treats us as inferior beings. We have to take risks that other species avoid because we need to prove ourselves worthy of respect. Sometimes desperation makes you stronger than you thought possible." General studied her response carefully, his experienced mind weighing every word and gesture. Sarah maintained perfect emotional control while her neural implants monitored his physiological responses, providing real-time analysis of his suspicion levels and decision-making processes. The interrogation continued for hours, with General probing every aspect of Sarah's story and background. Her enhanced memory provided perfect recall of her cover identity, while her quantum processor generated supporting details that maintained complete consistency with her false history. Finally, General reached his conclusion. "You are exactly what you appear to be," he told Sarah with a mixture of disappointment and relief. "A human trader who stumbled across advanced technology and used it to improve your business operations. Your species' reputation for weakness and limitation appears to be well-deserved." Sarah allowed herself to show relief at this assessment, playing the role of someone grateful to be believed. In reality, she had just achieved another victory for humanity. Even the most experienced intelligence officer could not see through their carefully constructed deceptions. The next morning, Sarah received word that she would be released as part of a routine prisoner exchange. The had concluded she possessed no valuable information and represented no threat to their operations. Within hours, she would be free to continue her mission while the quantum taps she had installed continued feeding intelligence to Luna Command. As she prepared for release, Sarah reflected on humanity's greatest achievement. They had convinced an entire galaxy that they were harmless while positioning themselves to influence or control every major power structure. The species that mocked humans for their weakness had never imagined the true scope of human capabilities. The galaxy was about to discover just how wrong they had been about humanity's limitations. In a few months, when the Council voted on the Restriction Act, they would face opponents who knew all their secrets while revealing none of their own. The balance of power was about to shift dramatically. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from 12 species gathered for the most significant vote in recent galactic history. The proposed Humanity Restriction Act would limit human movement throughout the galaxy, require registration of all human vessels, and establish monitoring protocols for human commercial activities. The sponsors believed they were protecting galactic stability from an increasingly problematic species. Ambassador sat calmly in the human delegation area, her enhanced senses monitoring every conversation and emotional fluctuation in the vast chamber. To the other delegates, she appeared as expected, a typical human diplomat, smaller and physically weaker than most representatives, lacking the impressive presence of the other species' ambassadors. What they couldn't detect was the quantum communication network connecting to thousands of enhanced humans throughout the galaxy, or the real-time intelligence flowing from infiltrated computer systems across 12 major civilizations. While the Council prepared to vote on humanity's restrictions, humans already possessed complete information on every delegate's position, the arguments they planned to make, and the private deals they had negotiated. Counselor of the Rose to address the Assembly. His massive armored form commanded attention as he began the formal presentation of the Restriction Act. Fellow Council members, we face a critical decision today. The human species has expanded throughout our galaxy at an unprecedented rate. Their merchant fleets now operate in every major system, their traders have established relationships with countless minor species, and their influence grows daily. Neural implants analyzed speech patterns and physiological indicators, providing real-time assessment of his emotional state and strategic intentions. The quantum processor in her ring connected her to Luna Command, where Doctor monitored the proceedings with access to intelligence gathered from every major power in the galaxy. The humans claim to seek only peaceful trade, continued, but their rapid expansion suggests more ambitious goals. A species that appeared helpless and harmless 50 years ago now maintains a presence in systems throughout the galaxy. We must ask ourselves, what do we really know about human capabilities and intentions? This question struck closer to the truth than realized. The Council had accepted humanity's facade of weakness for so long that they had never seriously investigated human capabilities. Their intelligence services had dismissed humans as too primitive to warrant surveillance, allowing 50 years of infiltration and preparation to proceed undetected. Commander Sarah watched the proceedings from the gallery, having been released from custody 3 weeks earlier. Her successful infiltration of their intelligence facility had provided humanity with access to military communications across 47 star systems. The delegation had no idea that their private strategy sessions were being monitored by the humans they sought to restrict. "The evidence is clear," declared General, representing the military interests. Human expansion follows patterns that suggest coordination and planning beyond what should be possible for a decentralized species. Their traders appear in dangerous systems where other species fear to venture. They establish relationships with hostile governments that reject contact with more powerful civilizations. This cannot be mere coincidence. General's observations were accurate but incomplete. Human success in dangerous systems came from their enhanced capabilities and advanced technology, while their diplomatic achievements resulted from careful intelligence gathering and precise understanding of alien psychology. The general was detecting the symptoms of human preparation without understanding the underlying reality. Representative of the collective added her crystalline voice to the debate. The humans have requested advanced technologies from our researchers, claiming academic interest. Yet our analysis suggests their understanding of quantum mechanics and energy manipulation exceeds their supposed technological level. How does a species develop such theoretical knowledge while remaining dependent on primitive fusion drives? This question highlighted one of humanity's most careful deceptions. Human ships appeared to use conventional propulsion while hiding drives capable of performance that exceeded most military specifications. Human requests for alien technology served as cover for intelligence gathering rather than genuine scientific need. They had unknowingly provided information that helped humans understand alien power systems and develop countermeasures. Rose to address the council, her movement graceful despite appearing physically unremarkable compared to the impressive alien delegates. Honored representatives, I appreciate your concerns about human expansion, but I believe your fears are based on misunderstandings about our species and our intentions. Her voice carried perfectly throughout the chamber, enhanced by subtle acoustic manipulation that made every word clear and compelling. The technology was invisible to alien detection methods, appearing as natural human vocal projection. Neural implants provided real-time analysis of each delegate's response, allowing her to adjust her presentation for maximum effectiveness. Humans expand rapidly because we must, continued. The Council granted us only associate membership, denying us access to the protections and advantages enjoyed by full members. We survive by being adaptable, by finding opportunities that other species overlook, and by working harder than anyone expects from such a weak species. The last word was delivered with just enough emphasis to highlight the Council's own prejudices. Enhanced psychology training allowed her to manipulate alien emotional responses while maintaining the appearance of straightforward honesty. Each species heard what they expected from a human diplomat, acknowledgement of inferiority combined with determined persistence. Our success in dangerous systems comes from necessity, not hidden capabilities, explained. When your access to safe, profitable trade routes, you learn to make dangerous ones work. When powerful governments ignore your diplomatic overtures, you develop persistence and patience that eventually wins their attention. This explanation satisfied the delegates' preconceptions while carefully avoiding any mention of enhancement programs, advanced technology, or coordinated intelligence operations. Presented humanity's achievements as the natural result of desperation and hard work rather than superior capabilities hidden beneath a facade of weakness. Counselor of the Empire leaned forward, his snake-like form coiling with interest. Ambassador raises important points, but she doesn't address our primary concern. Human expansion appears coordinated despite your claims of decentralized government. How do we explain the simultaneous appearance of human traders in multiple systems, or the remarkable consistency of human diplomatic positions across the galaxy? The question struck at the heart of humanity's deception. The Luna Network provided coordination that made human activities appear unified while maintaining the pretense of independent operators. Its response needed to provide a plausible explanation without revealing the existence of their communication network. Honored Counselor, you're observing the effects of shared culture and common goals, replied smoothly. Humans communicate extensively among ourselves. Our traders share information about successful routes and profitable relationships. Our diplomats coordinate through regular conferences and data exchanges. What appears as mysterious coordination is simply good communication and mutual support. The explanation was technically accurate while completely misrepresenting the sophistication of human coordination systems. The delegates accepted it because it fit their understanding of human limitations. Good enough communication to share basic information, but nothing approaching the advanced coordination possessed by telepathic or technologically superior species. Doctor observed the debate from Luna Command while monitoring intelligence feeds from across the galaxy. The quantum taps installed by enhanced humans provided real-time access to the private communications of every major delegation. He knew exactly which arguments would be made, which compromises had been negotiated, and how each representative planned to vote. The Council believes they're debating humanity's future, told his senior staff, but they're actually determining how we reveal our true capabilities. If they pass the Restriction Act, we'll demonstrate that their limitations cannot be enforced. If they reject it, we can continue building our position while maintaining our cover. Either outcome served humanity's interests, but the response would need to be carefully calibrated. Too dramatic a revelation might provoke a galactic war that humans were not yet ready to fight. Too subtle a demonstration might fail to establish the respect that humanity deserved. The debate continued for hours, with each species presenting arguments based on their observations of human activities. The emphasized human persistence in accessing secured systems. The noted human success in environments where telepathic species struggled. The questioned human theoretical knowledge that seemed inconsistent with their technological limitations. Every concern was valid, but none of the delegates understood the true scope of human capabilities. They were debating restrictions on a species that could already monitor their private communications, infiltrate their secure facilities, and potentially disable their military networks. The irony was not lost on the enhanced humans observing the proceedings. Representative of the Hegemony Coalition rose to make the final argument for the Restriction Act. We have presented compelling evidence that humans pose a potential threat to galactic stability. Their rapid expansion, coordinated activities, and apparent capabilities beyond their supposed limitations justify preventive measures. The Restriction Act provides reasonable safeguards while allowing continued human participation in galactic commerce. Prepared to deliver humanity's response, knowing that her words would determine how the galaxy's most significant deception would be revealed. The quantum network connected her to every enhanced human in the galaxy, ready to coordinate their response based on the Council's decision. Honored representatives, began, her voice carrying the weight of 50 years of preparation. You speak of human limitations and supposed capabilities as if they were facts established by careful study. But when have any of your species seriously investigated what humans can actually accomplish? The question hung in the air like a challenge. Enhanced senses detected the shift in attention as delegates recognized something different in her tone and bearing. For the first time, a human representative was speaking with confidence rather than deference. You granted humans associate membership because we appeared weak and harmless, continued. You dismissed our technological achievements as copying alien designs. You assumed our expansion was random and uncoordinated because you couldn't imagine humans capable of galaxy-wide planning. Every assumption you've made about our species has been based on your prejudices rather than evidence. General shifted uncomfortably in his seat. His experienced military mind recognized the tone of someone about to reveal a significant advantage. The human ambassador was no longer playing the role of grateful supplicant seeking council approval. The Restriction Act proposes to limit human movement and require registration of our vessels, said with a slight smile. But before you vote, you should understand what you're actually trying to restrict. Activated her ring's quantum communicator, sending a single coded pulse that reached enhanced humans throughout the galaxy instantly. The signal triggered a coordinated demonstration that would reveal a fraction of humanity's true capabilities without exposing their most critical advantages. Across the galaxy, human ships that had appeared dead or disabled suddenly activated advanced systems that had remained hidden for decades. Stealth fields dissolved to reveal vessels that had been operating undetected in restricted systems. Communication arrays that seemed primitive began transmitting on frequencies that alien technology couldn't access or jam. The first reports reached the council chamber within minutes. Military observers reported that human vessels in their space were displaying capabilities far beyond known human technology. Sensor networks detected human ships in systems where no authorized vessels should exist. Intelligence confirmed that humans had been operating in their most secure systems for extended periods. Watch the delegates' faces as they received updates from there. Confusion and alarm replaced the confident superiority they had displayed during the debate. The species that had dismissed humans as weak and primitive were discovering that they had been completely deceived about human capabilities. The reports you're receiving represent less than 10% of actual human presence and capabilities throughout the galaxy, announced calmly. For 50 years, while you debated our limitations and planned our restrictions, humans have been building the most extensive intelligence and communication network in galactic history. Counselors struggled to process the implications. You're claiming that humans have been conducting covert operations throughout our territories, that your species has been spying on the Council and our member governments. I'm claiming that humans have been surviving and thriving despite your attempts to limit our access to the galaxy, replied. We've established trade relationships you never detected, developed technologies you never imagined, and created capabilities you never suspected. The weak, humans you sought to restrict, have been protecting their interests quite effectively. The chamber erupted in confused discussions as delegates tried to understand how their intelligence services had failed so completely. Each species was receiving reports that contradicted everything they believed about human capabilities. Ships that appeared primitive were revealing advanced systems. Traders who seemed harmless were confirmed to be operating in restricted systems. Communication networks thought to be monitored were proving inaccessible to alien surveillance. Doctor smiled as he watched the chaos unfold from Luna Command. Phase 1 of Operation Revelation was proceeding exactly as planned. The galaxy was discovering that they had underestimated humanity, but they still had no idea of the true extent of human preparation and infiltration. The real question now was how the alien species would respond to this revelation. Would they accept humanity as the equals they had always been? Or would they react with fear and hostility to the discovery that their supposed inferiors had been playing a much deeper game than anyone had imagined? The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened 18 hours after Ambassador's revelation. The chamber that had buzzed with confident debate now hummed with tension and barely controlled panic. Representatives who had arrived expecting to vote on restricting a weak species found themselves facing the reality that they had been completely outmaneuvered by those same, primitive, humans. Admiral of the Military Command stood before the assembled delegates, his armored form radiating the authority of a warrior who had never known defeat. The reports his staff had compiled painted a picture that challenged everything the galaxy believed about human capabilities. The tactical situation is unprecedented, Admiral announced, his voice carrying the weight of grim military assessment. Our analysis indicates that humans have maintained covert operations in every major system for at least 30 years. Ships we classified as primitive cargo vessels have revealed sensor systems that exceed our own military specifications. Defensive networks we considered impenetrable have been monitoring human signals we couldn't even detect. General added his own disturbing observations from the intelligence services. Our interrogation of the human prisoner provided no indication of advanced capabilities. Yet our sensor logs now confirm that her vessel contained technology we couldn't identify or classify. Either our intelligence protocols are completely inadequate, or humans possess deception capabilities we never suspected. The implications were staggering for species that had built their strategies around assumptions of human weakness. Military plans, trade agreements, and diplomatic positions all required reevaluation if humans possessed capabilities that had remained hidden for 5 decades. Maintained her position at the human delegation table, her enhanced senses monitoring every conversation and emotional fluctuation in the chamber. Through quantum communication channels, she remained connected to Doctor at Luna Command and thousands of enhanced humans throughout the galaxy. The revelation was proceeding according to plan, but the response would determine humanity's next moves. Counselor leaned forward, his 4 eyes focusing on with new intensity. Ambassador, your revelation yesterday suggests that humans have been conducting extensive deception operations against the Council and its member species. Do you deny that this constitutes espionage and potentially hostile activity? Neural implants provided real-time analysis of physiological state and the emotional responses of other delegates. Fear and anger dominated, but she also detected uncertainty and a growing recognition that their previous assumptions had been catastrophically wrong. Counselor, I deny that humans have conducted hostile activities. replied with carefully calibrated calm. We have protected our interests and gathered information necessary for our survival in a galaxy that made clear we were unwelcome as equals. Every action we've taken has been defensive in nature. This statement was technically accurate while concealing the offensive capabilities that humanity had developed alongside their defensive networks. The quantum taps, infiltration systems, and control protocols represented far more than simple surveillance, but its mission required revealing power gradually rather than triggering immediate warfare. Representative of the collective activated her translation matrix, her crystalline form pulsing with agitation. You speak of defensive measures, but our energy grid analysis indicates that human vessels could potentially overload our power systems if they chose to do so. How do you explain the development of such capabilities by a supposedly peaceful trading species? The question exposed one of humanity's most carefully guarded secrets, their ability to disrupt alien infrastructure through targeted electromagnetic interference. Power grids relied on crystalline resonance patterns that human technology could manipulate with devastating effectiveness. The fact that humans had never used this capability demonstrated restraint rather than inability. Representative, humans excel at understanding and adapting to alien technology, replied diplomatically. Our survival has depended on learning how systems work so we can maintain our equipment and establish effective trade relationships. The fact that we understand your technology well enough to potentially disrupt it doesn't mean we intend to do so. Explanation satisfied diplomatic protocols while subtly reinforcing humanity's message. They possessed capabilities that could threaten any species in the galaxy, but chose not to use them. The implication was clear restrictions and hostility were unnecessary because humans had already demonstrated their peaceful intentions through restraint. Doctor monitored the proceedings from Luna Command while coordinating humanity's response across hundreds of star systems. The demonstration had achieved its primary objective, establishing that humans possessed capabilities far beyond galactic expectations. The secondary objective was proving that these capabilities were defensive rather than aggressive. Phase 2 is ready for activation, reported to his senior staff. Enhanced operatives are positioned to demonstrate our intelligence networks if the Council demands evidence of human activities. Our infiltration of their communication systems gives us complete access to their strategic planning. Phase 2 would reveal the true extent of human intelligence gathering without exposing their most sensitive capabilities. Council members would discover that their private conversations had been monitored for years, but not that humans could potentially control their computer networks and military systems. The debate continued with each species, presenting their analysis of the new information about human capabilities. The Empire reported that human traders had been operating in systems where their surveys indicated no inhabitable worlds existed. They confirmed that humans had somehow neutralized telepathic surveillance in multiple facilities. The Hegemony Coalition discovered that their most secure communication protocols had been comprehensively compromised. Admiral synthesized the military implications for the Assembly. The evidence suggests that humans have maintained the most successful intelligence operation in galactic history. They have gathered information on our capabilities while concealing their own, positioned assets throughout our territories while maintaining the appearance of simple commerce, and developed countermeasures for our defense systems while never revealing hostile intentions. The assessment was accurate but incomplete. Human operations had indeed been successful beyond anything previously attempted, but the true scope included capabilities that could destabilize galactic civilization if fully revealed. Its mission required maintaining the balance between demonstrating strength and avoiding provocation. Commander Sarah observed the proceedings from the Enhanced Human Coordination Center on Luna Station. Her recent escape from custody had provided critical intelligence about alien interrogation techniques and security protocols. The quantum taps she had installed continued feeding real-time data about military planning. The alien species are responding exactly as our psychological profiles predicted, Sarah reported to Doctor. Fear and anger are dominant, but they're also recognizing that military confrontation with humans might be more costly than they previously calculated. The revelation is shifting toward grudging respect rather than immediate hostility. This psychological shift was crucial for humanity's long-term strategy. The goal was not to dominate or humiliate the alien species, but to establish the mutual respect necessary for genuine partnership. Humans wanted to be accepted as equals, not feared as threats or dismissed as inferiors. Counselor of the Empire raised the question that dominated private discussions among the delegates. Ambassador, you've demonstrated that humans possess capabilities we didn't suspect, but you haven't explained why you maintained this deception for 50 years. If humans desired equal treatment, why not reveal your true abilities when seeking council membership? The question struck at the heart of humanity's strategy and required careful response. Its answer would determine whether the revelation led to greater understanding or increased suspicion about human intentions. Counselor, we tried honesty first, replied with controlled emotion. When humans first approached the galactic community, we presented our technology and capabilities openly. Your species dismissed us as primitive copyists using alien designs. When we demonstrated problem-solving abilities that exceeded expectations, you concluded we must be working for more advanced species. Neural implants provided perfect recall of the historical record, while her enhanced psychology training allowed her to manipulate emotional responses. Each word was chosen to evoke recognition of past injustices, while avoiding accusations that might trigger defensive hostility. The galaxy made clear that humans would be accepted only as inferior beings, continued. So we gave you what you expected, weak, harmless humans who posed no threat and deserved only associate membership. Meanwhile, we built the capabilities necessary to protect ourselves and our interests in a galaxy that refused to treat us as equals. This explanation reframed 50 years of deception as defensive necessity rather than aggressive preparation. The alien delegates were forced to confront their own prejudices and the consequences of their dismissive treatment of humanity. Enhanced senses detected growing discomfort as representatives recognized their role in creating the situation they now faced. General leaned back in his chair, his experienced military mind processing the implications. You're suggesting that the Council's treatment of humans created the conditions that led to this deception, that our refusal to accept humans as equals forced them to develop capabilities in secret. General, I'm stating that as a fact, replied firmly. Humans adapted to the reality we encountered. When open honesty led to dismissal and discrimination, we learned to be more subtle. When direct requests for technology transfer were, we developed our own solutions. When our diplomatic overtures were ignored, we found other ways to accomplish our objectives. The chamber fell silent as delegates contemplated the uncomfortable truth that their own actions had contributed to the current situation. The species that prided themselves on civilized behavior and enlightened governance had to acknowledge that they had created the conditions that forced humanity to operate in shadows. Doctor joined the conversation through quantum communication from her research facility on Luna. Her psychological analysis of the alien delegates provided real-time guidance for diplomatic strategy. The guilt response is stronger than anticipated, Doctor reported privately. Several species are recognizing that their prejudices and discrimination created legitimate grievances. This provides an opportunity to position the revelation as correction of injustice rather than threat to stability. Adjusted her approach based on this assessment, shifting toward themes of justice and mutual benefit rather than simple demonstration of power. The goal was to make the alien species want to rectify past wrongs rather than resist human advancement. The question before this council, announced, is not whether humans have capabilities you didn't expect. The evidence makes that clear. The question is whether the galaxy is ready to accept humans as the equals we have always been, or whether you will continue the policies that forced us to operate in secrecy. Representative of the Hegemony Coalition shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Ambassador, you're presenting the Council with what appears to be an ultimatum. Accept human equality or face the consequences of human capabilities. Is that an accurate interpretation of your position? Its response would be crucial. Too aggressive a stance might trigger the war that humanity was not yet ready to fight. Too passive an approach might fail to establish the respect that 50 years of preparation had been designed to achieve. Representative, I'm presenting the Council with a choice between justice and continued injustice, replied. Humans have proven our capabilities and our restraint. We've shown that we can gather intelligence, develop technology, and operate throughout the galaxy despite your restrictions. We've also shown that we prefer cooperation to confrontation by never using our capabilities aggressively. Paused, allowing her words to register with every delegate before delivering humanity's ultimate message. The galaxy can continue trying to treat humans as inferior beings, but you'll be attempting to restrict equals who have already proven capable of protecting their interests. Or you can accept the reality that humans deserve full membership in the galactic community and work with us as partners rather than adversaries. The choice was clear, but the decision would determine whether humanity's emergence from shadows would lead to peaceful integration or galactic conflict. The species that had underestimated humans for 50 years now faced the consequences of their prejudices and the reality of human capabilities. 6 months after Ambassador's revelation to the Galactic Council, the balance of power throughout the galaxy had shifted dramatically. The Humanity Restriction Act had been withdrawn, replaced by Resolution 2847, the full integration accord that granted humans complete membership in the galactic community. What the alien species didn't realize was that this formal recognition merely acknowledged a reality that had existed for decades. Doctor stood in the observation deck of the newly constructed human embassy station, watching ships from across the galaxy dock at the massive facility. The station orbited at the gravitational center of the Council systems, its position symbolizing humanity's new role as mediator and coordinator for galactic affairs. The embassy station itself was a demonstration of humanity's true technological capabilities. Built in record time using construction techniques that impressed even the master engineers, it incorporated defenses that could withstand attacks from the combined fleets of 3 major species while providing humanitarian aid to any world in need. The integration is proceeding ahead of schedule, Doctor reported to his senior staff during their weekly assessment meeting. 12 species have requested human assistance with infrastructure projects, 8 governments have asked for help resolving territorial disputes, and 3 civilizations want access to our communication technology. The transformation had been remarkable, but not entirely unexpected. Once the galaxy understood that humans possessed capabilities that exceeded their own in many areas, the dismissive attitude had shifted to eager partnership. Species that had restricted human access now competed for human attention and cooperation. Commander Sarah had been assigned as the military to the embassy station, coordinating security operations with representatives from allied species. Her role provided cover for continued intelligence gathering and network expansion, but increasingly her work involved legitimate diplomatic and military cooperation. They have requested human participation in their next major military exercise, Sarah reported. Generals specifically asked for demonstrations of our sensor technology and tactical coordination systems. 6 months ago, they were interrogating me as a suspected spy. Now they want to learn from our capabilities. The irony was not lost on the enhanced humans who remembered decades of discrimination and suspicion. The same species that had dismissed them as primitive were now seeking their expertise and partnership. The transformation validated humanity's patient strategy while providing opportunities for even greater influence. Ambassador had been promoted to Director of Relations, a newly created position that made her the primary human liaison for all major galactic affairs. Her office in the embassy station served as the hub for diplomatic activities that spanned hundreds of systems and dozens of civilizations. The real test will come when we reveal additional capabilities, told Doctor during their private consultation. The species have accepted what we've shown them so far, but they still don't understand the full scope of human preparation and integration. Phase 3 will determine whether this partnership is sustainable or if we need to consider more direct approaches. Phase 3 involved gradually revealing humanity's ability to coordinate galactic communications, their infiltration of major computer networks, and their capability to influence or disable critical infrastructure throughout the galaxy. These revelations would need to be carefully managed to maintain trust while establishing human importance to galactic stability. The success of human integration was evident in every aspect of galactic affairs. Human traders now operated openly in systems that had been restricted for decades. Human diplomats were requested as mediators for disputes that had festered for generations. Human scientists collaborated on projects that had stalled due to competition and mistrust. Captain James commanded the new human expeditionary fleet, a force of ships that appeared modest but contained capabilities that exceeded most planetary defense networks. The fleet's official mission was exploration and humanitarian assistance, but their real purpose was projecting human power throughout the galaxy while maintaining the appearance of peaceful cooperation. We've established permanent stations in 17 systems that were previously inaccessible to human vessels, reported from his flagship, the New Horizon. Each station provides humanitarian services to local populations while serving as coordination centers for our expanded operations. The stations were architectural marvels that showcased human engineering while concealing their military potential. Designed to serve as research facilities, medical centers, and communication hubs, they could transform into fortress installations if galactic politics shifted toward confrontation. Doctor continued her research programs on Luna, now expanded to include collaborative projects with alien scientists who had previously dismissed human theoretical knowledge. The enhanced human program had evolved from covert operations to voluntary service that attracted candidates from every human colony throughout the galaxy. The enhancement process has been refined to the point where integration is virtually seamless, Doctor reported to the Luna Council. New volunteers show complete adaptation within weeks rather than months. More importantly, the psychological conditioning allows them to function as normal humans while maintaining access to their enhanced capabilities. The expanded enhancement program was creating a generation of humans who could operate as equals with any galactic species, while maintaining the cultural identity and values that had driven humanity's rise to prominence. These individuals would become the foundation for humanity's continued expansion and influence throughout the galaxy. The alien species had gradually discovered additional aspects of human capabilities as cooperation deepened. They learned that human defensive systems could deflect their most powerful weapons. They found that human energy manipulation exceeded their crystalline technology. They realized that human mental disciplines could resist even concentrated telepathic assault. Each revelation strengthened human credibility while maintaining the careful balance between demonstrating capability and avoiding provocation. The galaxy was learning to respect human abilities without feeling threatened by human intentions. General had become one of humanity's most valuable allies, his military expertise providing insights into galactic power structures, while his growing respect for human capabilities influenced other leaders. His friendship with Sarah had evolved from interrogator prisoner to trusted colleagues working toward mutual security. Humans approach warfare differently than any species we've encountered, General explained during a joint strategy session. You plan for contingencies we never consider, develop countermeasures for threats we don't recognize, and coordinate operations across distances that challenge our understanding of logistics. Working with human military advisors has improved our effectiveness by measurable percentages. This military cooperation was opening doors throughout the galaxy as species recognized the advantages of human partnership. The beings who had once dismissed human weakness now competed to gain access to human strategic thinking and tactical innovation. The transformation extended beyond military and diplomatic cooperation to fundamental changes in galactic culture. Human entertainment had become popular across dozens of species, as alien audiences discovered the appeal of stories focused on individual achievement and overcoming adversity. Human art was celebrated for its emotional depth and technical innovation. Human philosophy was influencing alien thinking about consciousness, adaptation, and the relationship between technology and biology. The species that had considered humans primitive were discovering that human perspectives offered solutions to problems that had challenged galactic civilization for. Trade relationships had evolved into genuine partnerships as alien species discovered that human adaptability and innovation could solve problems that had seemed insurmountable. Human engineers were designing systems that worked better than anything previously developed. Human scientists were making theoretical breakthroughs that opened new fields of research. The Galactic Council Chamber had been reconfigured to accommodate humanity's new status as a full member with voting rights and committee leadership positions. Now chaired the Committee on Cooperation, a role that gave her influence over policies affecting every civilization in the galaxy. The proposal before us today represents a fundamental shift in galactic governance, announced to the assembled delegates. The Unified Defense Accord would create a coordinated response system for threats that affect multiple species. Humans would serve as communication coordinators and strategic advisors for any joint military operations. The Unified Defense Accord was humanity's most ambitious diplomatic achievement, formal recognition of their role as the galaxy's primary coordination and communication specialists. The treaty would give humans access to every major military network while providing alien species with capabilities they couldn't achieve independently. Admirals supported the proposal with enthusiasm that would have been unthinkable a year earlier. Human coordination capabilities have proven superior to any system we've previously employed. Their communication networks operate with precision and security that our individual species cannot match. The logical conclusion is to formalize their role in galactic defense coordination. The vote was unanimous, establishing humanity as the galaxy's primary defense coordinators and granting them access to military networks throughout known space. The species that had once sought to restrict human movement now depended on human coordination for their security. Doctor observed the vote from Luna Command, satisfied that humanity had achieved objectives that had seemed impossible when the project began 50 years earlier. The galaxy had not only accepted humans as equals, but recognized them as leaders in coordination, communication, and strategic planning. Phase 4 preparations can begin, announced to his expanded staff. Full galactic integration is achieved. Network access is complete. Enhancement programs are expanding throughout human space. We're ready to reveal the true scope of human preparation and capability. Phase 4 would involve demonstrating humanity's ability to coordinate galactic communications in real time, their capacity to influence major infrastructure throughout known space, and their role as the invisible foundation supporting galactic civilization. The species that had learned to respect human capabilities would discover that humans had become indispensable to galactic stability. Commander reflected on the transformation as she stood in the embassy station's memorial hall, where a simple plaque honored the enhanced humans who had risked their lives during the decades of covert operations. The inscription read, "To those who served in shadows so humanity could walk in light." The memorial reminded visitors that humanity's current position had been earned through sacrifice, dedication, and the kind of patient strategic thinking that had enabled a supposedly weak species to become the coordinators of galactic civilization. The beings who had dismissed humans as primitive had unknowingly created the conditions that forced humanity to develop capabilities that now benefited every species in the galaxy. Concluded her address to the Galactic Council with words that summarized humanity's journey from dismissed associates to essential partners. 50 years ago, you granted humans associate membership because we appeared weak and harmless. Today, you depend on human coordination and capabilities for your security and prosperity. The difference is not that humans became stronger, but that the galaxy finally learned to recognize the strength we always possessed. The transformation was complete. Humanity had emerged from the shadows to take their rightful place among the stars, not through conquest or intimidation, but through demonstrated competence and the kind of patient preparation that turned perceived weakness into undeniable strength. The species that thought humans were weak had discovered that they were wrong about everything that mattered. Humanity's greatest victory was not proving their strength, but earning the respect and partnership that had been to them for so long. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again, but more importantly, they would never want to. Humanity had become too valuable, too essential, and too respected to be dismissed or restricted. The age of human equality had begun, built on a foundation of capabilities that no one had suspected and guided by wisdom that transformed potential enemies into grateful allies. The stars belonged to all species now, but humans had become the ones who helped everyone reach them together. The vote on the Restriction Act had become irrelevant. The real question was whether the galaxy was ready to accept the truth about humanity's place among the stars. Stood calmly in the center of the galactic storm she had unleashed, ready to guide humanity's emergence from the shadows into their rightful place among the stars. The age of human deception was ending, but the age of human power was just beginning, and humanity was ready to claim their rightful place among the stars' humanity as an equal partner or discover just how dangerous it was to underestimate the species they had dismissed as harmless traders.